Honorable members of Parliament, our viewers joining us in the gallery and those live streaming. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the motion moved by the Honorable Prime Minister in thanking His Excellency the President for the most gracious speech at the state opening of Parliament on 16th February 2026. I do so with deep sense of responsibility. A responsibility shared by this coalition government to restore confidence in our democracy, strengthen our institutions, and serve the people of Fiji with humility and determination. Today, Fiji continues a journey of renewal, a journey grounded in freedom, accountability, and unity. Mr. Speaker, one of the most significant achievements of this coalition government has been the restoration of democratic freedom. For too long, our nation lived under a climate where voices were restrained and dissent was discouraged. But democracy cannot breathe where fear exists. The greatest gift returned by this government is the freedom of our people. Freedom to speak, to question, and to participate in shaping the future of our nation. Today, citizens express their views openly. Our media operates without intimidation. Civil society participates confidently in national dialogue. These freedoms are not small matter. They are the foundation of a healthy democracy. Mr. Speaker, there was a time when many in this country hesitated to speak openly. Today, that fear has lifted. Citizens debate freely, communities engage confidently, and democracy breathes again. That is the Fiji we believe in. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to address the matter of constitutional review. There is no constitutional crisis in Fiji. In fact, what we have is a constitutional reject. What exists is a growing recognition across our country that the 2013 Constitution must evolve to reflect the true aspiration of our people. The Constitution must belong to the people. It must reflect their values, traditions, and democratic voice. As His Excellency rightly stated, this government has begun the process of reviewing the Constitution so that it reflects the lived realities of our nation. This process is not about division. It is about inclusion. It is about ensuring that the supreme law of our nation carries the legitimacy and the ownership of the people of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, His Excellency highlighted the need for strengthening traditional institutions. Fiji's strength lies not only in government institutions, but also in our communities. Our traditional institutions, our faith communities, and our village leadership structures have always been pillars of stability in our nation. This government understands that real solutions to social challenges must come from within our communities. That is why we are working closely with faith leaders, community leaders, and traditional authorities to address serious issues facing our society. Issues such as drug abuse, HIV and AIDS, teenage pregnancies, the erosion of social values affecting families and communities, and a few others. Government alone cannot solve these challenges, but together with communities, churches, and traditional leadership, we can strengthen the moral and the social fabric of our nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency spoke on national values, faith, and social cohesion. Development is not measured only by roads, bridges, or buildings. True development is also measured by the values that guide a nation. This government believes in a Fiji grounded in shared national values, values that promote unity, responsibility, and respect. We are proud to be a multi-ethnic and multi-faith society. Our diversity is not our weakness, it is our strength. And our future prosperity depends on our ability to continue living together with mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation. This government remains committed to strengthening social cohesion and building a Fiji where every citizen feels a sense of belonging. Mr. Speaker, while restoring democratic freedoms and strengthening our institutions, this government remains focused on the practical needs of our people. We are investing in infrastructure that connects communities and support economic opportunity. The Honorable Minister for Works, Meteorological Services and Transport, in his speech, has clearly highlighted the ministry's enormous achievements and those in the plan yet to be materialized. As the Assistant Minister, I see firsthand the importance of this work. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Hem Chan mentioned that all he is hearing are grand announcements and ambitions project translate to an inconvenience. I think he chooses not to see what is happening around him. Government has done a lot. It has delivered and will continue to deliver. Last year, the Land Transport Authority was given a budget of around 12 million for 8 of its capital projects. LTA has already completed or in the process of completing all the 8 projects, which includes system digitalization, restoration of the Lambasa office, immutable backup system, Singatoka Way Bridge, Nakasi Express office, procurement of portable speed cameras, the ANPR and CCTV, and the valley level automated inspection lane. That's what you call deliver. That's what you call moving on with the job. And that's what you call achievement. Mr. Speaker, we said we are going to introduce the illicit drug test law for drivers to help in our fight against drugs and to ensure safety on our roads. We are almost there. We said we are going to clear the Suva Harbor from the derelicts. We have already started the process. Right now, about 40% of those boats have been scuttled, scrapped, or restored. We said we are going to increase fine to act as deterrent and save lives on our roads. We did it. We said we are going to enhance public transport services by both bringing back the taxi-based system and properly licensed private vehicles doing passenger cutting, especially those operating in the rural. Right now, we are at the gazetting stage. There will be additional taxis on our roads to serve our semi and the rural communities. We also said that we are going to address the road congestion in the Suva-Nusori, Lami-Suva, Nandi-Lautoka, and Lautokamba corridors. What we are witnessing now is traffic demand exceeds road capacity, resulting in slower speed, longer trip time, and an increase in vehicular queuing. It happens only in school days and certain hours of the day. We are working on that right now. Someone asked a comprehensive plan. The Honorable Minister Twiswau, in this August House, explained government strategies to counter congestions. The Honorable Vijay Nath came out in the media talking about congestion on what appears to me trying to school government on what to do. Mr. Speaker, congestion problem has been there for more than 10 years, but nothing serious was done to address it. This government has already started the work and will complete the task because we understand the suffering commuters go through when caught up in traffic congestions. We are currently engaged in the 5th phase of the plan here in the Central Division, and now we have decreased traveling time by 15 to 25 minutes on the major routes. Mr. Speaker, more changes will be seen on the Nosori-Suva, the Lami-Suva, and the Nandi-Lautoka main routes as we target to reduce current traveling time by 50%. Fiji's congestional challenges are not complex. It only happens during school days and only on the major towns and cities. So solutions should be considered around school time. The Honorable Prime Minister has already mentioned about work flexi hours. That is a huge push towards government's effort to address congestion. Mr. Speaker, government remains firmly committed building a safe, efficient, and resilient land transport system that serves the needs of all Fijians. Through the LTA, we are implementing several key initiatives aimed at enhancing enforcement, improving service delivery, and ensuring our transport systems are future ready. Firstly, the authority will establish a National Command Center, NCC, that will function as the central hub for monitoring transport operations, managing enforcement data, and coordinating real-time response to incidents on our roads. To further enhance transparency, accountability, and officer safety, the authority will introduce body-worn cameras for enforcement officers. The authority is also prioritizing the professional development of its vehicle examiners and driving examiners. Through enhanced training program, modern inspection tools, and improved testing standards, will ensure that vehicle inspections and driver assessments continue to uphold the highest level of road safety. In anticipation of transition towards cleaner transportation technologies, the authority will introduce electric vehicle technical training and capacity building programs for our LTA officers. These programs will equip LTA and officers and technical teams with the knowledge required to regulate and assess electric vehicles as their presence grows within our transport system. A key milestone is the authority's transformation. The authority's transformation is the ongoing business process re-engineering initiative, which was launched in December 2025 with anticipation of future releases as part of the LTA digitalization journey. The authority will also roll out the P1 and the P2 provisional driver license systems around June 2026, aiming to strengthen the graduated drivers' licensing framework and ensuring that new drivers gain the necessary experience before progressing to full license. Mr. Speaker, sir, another significant development is the public transport plan for the Greater Suva area, which is supported by the World Bank under the Activate Public Transport Program. This plan will guide the modernization and integration of public transport to create a more efficient, reliable, and accessible system for commuters. Mr. Speaker, the government's shipping franchise scheme ensures essential maritime connectivity for remote islands. From 2023 to 2026, GSFS supported 340 trips, transporting 49,748 passengers and 13,258 tons of cargoes, demonstrating its critical role in linking isolated communities with national services and market. GSFS will continue providing services to the people of Lau, Lomaiviti, Kandavu, Yasawa, Rutuma, and the northern maritime regions. Mr. Speaker, the Maritime Safety Authority has advanced maritime safety oversight and service delivery nationwide. To date, more than 4,000 vessels have been registered and over 13,000 seafarers certified and registered. The authority processed more than 167,000 vessels clearances, conducted 126 port state control inspections, and intensified enforcement to uphold international safety standards. Mr. Speaker, modern laws are essential to modern services. The Ministry has commenced a review of the Fiji Road Authority Act 2012, Road Act 1914, Maritime Transport Act 2013, and the Ships Registration Act 2013, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, we are focused on moving Fiji forward. Mr. Speaker, sir, in closing, I want to say the people of Fiji expect leadership. They expect honesty, accountability, and commitment to the national interest. This coalition government remains fully committed to that responsibility. We will continue to protect the freedoms of our people, We will continue to strengthen democratic institutions. We will continue to invest in infrastructure that supports growth and opportunity. And we will continue to work alongside communities, traditional leaders, and faith organizations to build a stronger nation. Fiji is turning a new page, a page defined by transparency, respect for democratic institutions, and a renewed partnership between government and the people. Work of rebuilding trust has begun, and this government remains committed to seeing it through. Fiji is always resilient. Time and again, our people have demonstrated courage, unity, and determination in the face of challenges. And today, with renewed confidence, we continue the work of building a better future. A future grounded in democracy, a future built on unity, a future where every Fijian can look ahead with hope. Mr. Speaker, sir, I fully support the motion before the House.
I thank the Honourable Naisa Tunadeva, the Assistant Minister for Public Works, Meteorological Services and Transport, for his contribution. I next call on the Assistant Minister for Defence, the Honourable Ratu Rakuitawala Lambore, to deliver his contribution.
The Honourable Speaker, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, the Honourable Leader of Opposition, and Honourable Members of Parliament. A very good afternoon to you all, and Isa Bulavina. Honourable Speaker, at the outset, I acknowledge the landowners of the land where we gather here this afternoon, to the owners past, present, and future landowners. Honourable Speaker, I rise in support of the motion that is before this House, thanking His Excellency for his most gracious address on the opening of Parliament on the 16th of February 2026. Honourable Speaker, on the 16th of February 2026, we were reminded of who we are as a nation, our journey, our sovereignty, and our collective responsibility to protect what has been entrusted to us. As His Excellency rightly stated, and I quote, our national progress is grounded not only in policy and institutions, but in shared values, faith, compassion, respect, and service. His Excellency's words were thoughtful, measured, and grounded in the lived realities of our people. They were not merely ceremonial remarks. They were call to action, a reminder of the responsibilities we carry and the expectations our citizens place on us. His Excellency spoke with clarity about the challenges before us, but also with confidence in our collective ability to overcome them. Today, Honourable Speaker, I wish to expand on some of the things that he highlighted and to reaffirm our commitment to advancing the well-being of every Fijian. Honourable Speaker, in his address, His Excellency reminded the nation that our Constitution as the supreme law of Fiji must remain a living document. It must not be static, nor confined to the circumstances of the past. Instead, it must evolve, adapt, and reflect the aspirations, values, and lived realities of our people today. Government has therefore commenced a responsible and principled review of the 2030 Constitution. This process, Honourable Speaker, began in this House and is not driven by politics, nor by narrow interests, but by a commitment on this government to democratic constitutionalism, good governance, and a respect for the rule of law. His Excellency made it clear that constitutional governance must strengthen national unity, protect fundamental rights, and uphold the sovereignty of the people of Fiji. Central to this review, Honourable Speaker, is the conviction that the Constitution belongs to the people, and so the people must be at the heart of its renewal. His Excellency emphasized that meaningful public participation will guide this process. Government is committed to ensuring that the voices of all Fijians across communities, generations, and regions are heard, respected, and reflected in the outcomes. This will be achieved through structured consultations, expert engagement, and transparent dialogue. The review will not be rushed, nor will it be conducted behind closed doors. Instead, it will be open, inclusive, and grounded in a broad-based consensus. This approach is essential to reinforcing public confidence in the constitutional framework that underpins our democratic institutions. His Excellency also reaffirmed that any constitution amendment bill, like all other bills, will be made public and will undergo extensive consultation. There will be robust debate, public scrutiny, and opportunities for input before any proposal is tabled before this House. Honourable Speaker, in advancing this process, government remains guided by the national interest and by a shared determination to secure a constitutional order that supports peace, prosperity, and unity for present and future generations. This is not merely a legal exercise. It is a nation-building endeavor. It is an opportunity to strengthen our democracy, deepen our unity, and ensure that the supreme law of our land truly reflects who we are and who we aspire to become. His Excellency also highlighted the rising cost of living, driven by global shocks and economic pressures beyond our control. These pressures affect every Fijian, from market vendors and farmers to workers, students, and even retirees. While we cannot control global events, we can control how we respond to them. The coalition government will ensure that our policies provide relief where it is most needed, protect the vulnerable households, and strengthen resilience. Honourable Speaker, Fiji faces a complex and unstable global landscape marked by instability and widespread uncertainty. Across multiple regions, interconnected crises poses significant threats to global, regional, and national stability. Therefore, we must ensure that our capabilities and readiness are up to par. From the Ministry of Defence and Veteran Affairs, Honourable Speaker, the National Security Strategy 2025-2029 emphasizes on the safeguarding of our maritime boundaries and preserving our natural resources within our EEZ. Thus, strengthening maritime awareness, improving lift capacity, and maintaining operational readiness are practical necessities. This is not about prestige or display. This is about safeguarding our sovereignty. It is about ensuring that Fiji can act in its own interest, protect our people, and provide regional and global response as and when required. Honourable Speaker, Fiji is a maritime nation. Our ocean space is vast and porous, but precious to our daily lives. Therefore, our security begins at sea. The Republic of Fiji Military Forces Naval Division continues its work quietly and consistently, patrolling our waters, supporting law enforcement, protecting our Ngolingoli, and working with our regional partners to strengthen our maritime domain awareness to address maritime illegal activities and emerging threats. Their dedication ensures that our waters remain safe, our sovereignty is respected, and that our communities can live sustainably through the sea. To ensure our maritime resources are safeguarded, the Ministry is currently in the phase of developing Fiji's first ever maritime security strategy. The strategy represents a shift from ad hoc responses towards a coordinated, whole-of-government and whole-of-society approach to maritime security. As rightly stated by His Excellency, structured partnerships can help mobile resources. The Maritime Security Strategy is intended to provide clear direction, shared priorities, and practical mechanisms for defense, law enforcement, border security, fisheries, customs, environmental protection, and disaster response. Furthermore, Honourable Speaker, maritime security is closely connected to disaster response. When disasters strike and our islands and maritime communities are cut off, it is our vessels and personnel who are first on the scene. Therefore, building stronger logistic networks, forward operating capabilities, and rapid deployment system is no longer theoretical, but a requirement for operational effectiveness. It is a service in its purest form. Honourable Speaker, whilst the Pacific nations are navigating complex geostrategic dynamics, the Ministry of Defence will continue to work closely with our Pacific neighbours in the spirit of cooperation, partnership, and mutual respect. We reaffirm our commitment to implementing the Pacific vision of our region as the ocean of peace. This is not simply a statement. It is a principle that guides our engagement, our regional and global initiatives. Our partnerships strengthen interoperability, ensure shared security, and demonstrate the values that Fiji stands for. I also wish to acknowledge and thank our peacekeepers, Honorable Speaker, who are currently serving or has returned from tour of duty overseas. Across the globe, they carry the flag of Fiji with professionalism, with pride, discipline, and honor. As His Excellency rightfully stated, and I quote, their contributions remind us that nationhood is sustained as much by character and service as it is by institutions, unquote. Their service, Honorable Speaker, reflects the values that define our nation: courage, commitment, and respect for human dignity. They are a source of pride for all Fijians. The commitment to maintaining peace, strengthening defense relationships, and cooperation not only enhances Fiji's global peacekeeping footprint, but showcasing our tradition, culture, and values. Honorable Speaker, we must also continue to support our veterans here at home. Their contribution to our nation does not end when their active service comes to an end. They are mentors, community leaders, and living examples of service. Supporting them is a responsibility we owe not only as a nation, but as a government that respects sacrifice and service. Honorable Speaker, our veterans has truly served our country in dedication, dignity, and respect. These veterans, in recognition of their duty of service, ensured stability, economic growth to building a better community and nation. Their key roles as veterans serves to promote discipline, support our current serving Fijian soldiers, and a supportive foundation of military service in ensuring national security and national resilience. Honorable Speaker, as we approach an election year, I wish to reaffirm to this House, and most importantly to the people of Fiji, that the Republic of Fiji military forces remain fully committed to the Constitution and civilian authority. Stability, discipline, and respect for the rule of law are non-negotiable. Our commitment is unwavering, and our role is clear: to serve with integrity, professionalism, and dedication. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, we are reminded by His Excellency's address that Fiji's strength lies in its unity. Our diversity of cultures, languages, traditions, and identities is not a weakness. It is a source of resilience and pride. He urged us to work together across political lines to build a Fiji that is stable. It means shared purpose. It means putting the nation above personal or political interest. Honorable Speaker, His Excellency's call for unity is timely. In a world marked by division and uncertainty, we must remain anchored in solidarity, respect, and cooperation for the betterment of our beloved country. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I once again thank His Excellency for his most gracious address, and I thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to speak on the motion by the Honorable Prime Minister. Nawali Saka.
I thank the Honourable Ratu Rakuitawala Lamburi, the Assistant Minister for Defence, for his contribution. I will now invite the Honourable Tony Usmati for his response to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Ministers, Leader of the Opposition, Members of Parliament, and citizens of Fiji. I rise to thank His Excellency, our President Turangambala Tudakau, for his most gracious address. There is very little in His Excellency's address that I cannot agree with. The sentiments he has raised, the values, the aspirations, the plans, and the legislative agenda, they are all relevant, Mr. Speaker, sir. As members of parliament, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is our duty to this country and to God who placed us here to speak frankly here about things that will help better the lives of our people. We MPs are all imperfect vessels, but we must strive to live up to our calling of serving God and Fiji in this parliament, and it is from this context that I give my reply today. I will abide by the Socrates sieve that His Excellency the President has asked us to do. That is to make sure that my words today are true, kandina, that they are good, kavinaka, and necessary or useful, kayana. Mr. Speaker, sir, I actually reviewed the performance achieved against the commitments made in His Excellency's address in 2025. And my cursory analysis indicates that 34% of those commitments were completed, 62% were partially completed, and 4% were not completed. 34% completed execution is not good enough, Mr. Speaker, sir. Last year, the Honorable Prime Minister moved a motion to thank His Excellency for his most gracious address. Then his government turns around and only fully delivers on 36% of those commitments. That is the height of disrespect to our head of state. Almost everyone on the government side is either a minister or an assistant minister. And I think only 3 or 4, perhaps 5 of government's 4 members of parliament are not part of the executive. But still, execution is incomplete. The leader of the opposition had suggested that a parliamentary select committee be set up to monitor the performance of government on critical matters, especially those raised by His Excellency. Given what I have just said, I think we really need to make sure that that committee comes into being, sir. His Excellency acknowledged the sovereignty of our people, and I thank him for that. Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, our people are sovereign, all of our people, not just some of them, not just one ethnic group, not one religion, not one part of Fiji, all of us. He reminded us that diversity is our strength, implying that if we get rid of that diversity or minimize the diversity, we are shooting ourselves in the foot and eroding our strength. The level of development of Fiji is far superior to almost all Pacific Island countries. A key reason for that has been the diversity we have and the different strengths that each community has brought to bear on developing Fiji, and we must maintain that diversity, sir. I completely agree with His Excellency that unity is our purpose, and that we must safeguard our unity by ensuring that development is fair, inclusive, and equitably sustainable. His Excellency reminded us that progress cannot be measured by growth alone, but on how well the benefits of development are shared evenly by us all. And indeed, he quoted the Household Incomes Expenditure Survey that showed that hardships persist. A quarter of our population below the poverty line, a quarter just hovering above it, high rural poverty, 18% youth unemployment. These are challenges that I understand cannot be dealt with overnight, but it's something that we need to address. The question is, how well are we already delivering on the values that His Excellency has articulated? And how well do we live these values in the future? More importantly, sir, how have those in power demonstrated behavior that reflects those values? On Tuesday, the Honorable Wadea, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday, questioned the loyalty of the opposition to Fiji. I reassure him and Fiji that we indeed are the loyal opposition. We are loyal to Fiji and to Fijians. We give recognition where it is due. We hold government to account. We cooperate with government when it is the right thing to do. And we point out without any fear and with objectivity the things that need to be said in this country to set things right. His Excellency has intimated that government's program for 2026 will be based on 3 foundational principles of unity and diversity, sustainability and resilience, integrity and good governance. He also told us that Fiji stands at a defining moment, a moment where we must choose unity over division, progress over fear, and a shared future over the old politics that kept us apart. He challenged us to rebuild trust, strengthen national cohesion, and put the well-being of every Fijian at the center of our decisions. That message speaks directly to the 150-year history that His Excellency also referred to. When the British brought indentured laborers to Fiji, They created the system that kept our communities apart. Itoke on one side, Indo-Fijians on the other. That separation was not cultural, it was not chosen, it was imposed, and for decades those divisions shaped our politics, our institutions, and even our sense of identity. But, Mr. Speaker, as the President said, the time has come to move beyond the fractures of our past. We cannot carry colonial divisions into a modern democracy. We cannot build a strong Fiji while holding on to the structures designed to keep us weak. We are all Fijians. Our Indo-Fijian brothers and sisters have helped build this nation with their labor, their enterprise, and their resilience. Our Melanesian cousins who were brought here by blackbirders have contributed to this country. All other ethnicities that call Fiji home, that contributed to our development. We, Itoke, as our custodians of the land, anchor this country with identity, heritage, and belonging. Mr. Speaker, sir, the era of dividing people for political gain must end. The era of weaponizing differences in ethnicity and of fear-based politics must end. If we are serious about honoring the President's call, then we must commit to laws and policies that put the people first. Not ethnicity first, not party first, not personal ambition first, but people first. A Fiji where every child, regardless of background, has equal opportunity. A Fiji where our diversity strengthens us. A Fiji where unity is not a slogan but a lived reality. Mr. Speaker, sir, the President has set the tone. Now it is our responsibility to deliver. A united Fiji is not just possible, it is absolutely necessary. And it begins with the choices that we make in this House. Unity must be built through fair laws, inclusive policies, respectful leadership, shared commitment to do good. Yesterday, we heard from the Honorable Vian Pillay, talked about how the former Minister for Sugar would just argue with cane farmers and have no respect at all for their views. No respect there. That is just but one example of such lack of respectful leadership. For the last 3 weeks, Mr. Speaker, sir, we were in Vanua Levu, and at every village we were told in Itoke, and I speak in Itoke here, we nakawalevu na siromai. Ang kai ni vera le ni Vanua, kito siang ni sireani, kito zambe mai. Mbaleto kimami na nomini mata en bosalawa na nemami tawi na garabi kimani na le ni Vanua. Kwani nemami imanda nemami liu. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is when we know and remember that we are called to serve that we will lead with respect for all citizens. Integrity and good governance strengthen trust in public institutions and public leadership, sir. There are many good things that this government has managed to achieve, and all the applaudis for the good that you've done. There have been many cases of solid integrity and good governance. There are also bad governance examples that are very, very worrisome, and that we must curtail, sir. I list a few of them, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Barbara Malimali appointment, which is condemned by a commission of inquiry. The Barbara Malimali dismissal, ruled unlawful by the High Court case. Prime Minister remaining in office despite the constitutional breach. And yesterday we learned that he's going to appeal the decision. I assume,
that is why you will not refer to it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Right.
I move on, sir. Frances Pulawai, the resignation and allegations of interference. She made allegations of political interference in FICAC investigations. The politicization of the civil service, sidekicks, cronies, and failed candidates being employed, some in very senior roles. The PSC then abolishing contract appointments, introducing permanent tenure and extending retirement age to 60 years, thereby locking in political appointments. Fiji Correction Service, the nepotism, the abuse of the office. Hiring of relatives, bypassing procedures, retaliatory demotions. Pacific Polytech, physical irregularities. The director, Dr. Naisel, he actually stated that the grant provided to Pacific Polytech was without the commission approval and could be considered illegal, as Pacific Polytech failed to meet accreditation standards, sir. The decision not to pay Pacific Polytech the grant was a board decision. Yet, government decided to remove the board chair, who was basically working on the legal advice provided by the Solicitor General's Office in September 2025, not to release the funds. Why was there a rush to remove the chairperson a month before his term ended? Although the decision had been taken by the board itself, was this all done just to facilitate the payment of $7 million to Pacific Polytech? Fiji Sports Council issues, a brief rundown, Mr. Speaker, sir. We have the issue happening in late Jan, early Feb. February to March last year, whistleblower raised concerns, no action by the Prime Minister. He did not seek information or intervene. April to December 2025, more insights from the whistleblower. FSC board becomes aware, no corrective action is done. January 2026, Sports Council instigates independent investigation. No response from the Honorable Prime Minister. February 2026, media raises many questions. PM refuses to comment. Early March 2026, the whistleblower information becomes public. It's published by MyTV and Fiji Village. No response by the Prime Minister. 6 March, the Prime Minister dismisses Honorable Sokuru and orders suspension of the CEO. In this case, Mr. Speaker, sir, the investigation will be carried out and will take its course. And in time, we will learn if the former minister and CEO were at fault. But my issue is this, Mr. Wajesi.
Yes, point of order.
Why a delay?
Wait,
Sorry.
you can see.
Point of order, Honourable Speaker.
Honorable
refer-
Thambuya, yes, point of order.
Thank you. I refer to Standing Order 62, subsection 3. Honourable Speaker, the member is referring to the conduct of another member. Honourable Speaker, and certainly in areas where he knows himself, maybe he's not used to it, he's used to a Prime Minister that would put his nose and business in every ministry. It's not the way in this government. The Honourable Prime Minister is not the Youth Minister to direct or comment on the work of the Fiji Sports Council or its board. That is the role of the Youth Minister, and he's alleging or stating that the Prime Minister should comment on that. And I think he just needs to choose his words wisely in terms of the conduct of the Prime Minister and where and his jurisdiction in terms of exercise of his powers and his authority. And I think he needs to be corrected on that, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Thambuya. Honorable Usumati, I have listened to Honorable Thambuya's point of order. What is important for you to refer to non-action, but not to specifically then refer to what needed to be done, right? That's a slight variation of what we're talking about, and that's what you say. You're trying to tell the office holder what should. You are just saying the shortcomings, and that I think it's all right in respect of your description or the criticism of what is happening. All right? So I'll take that to that point, and you please can observe that direction.
If governance and integrity is such a thing, why does government delay investigating to find the truth? Why? Why? The current leadership of Fiji seems to have a persistent pattern of burying their heads in the sand, hoping that problems will go away. That is poor, indecisive leadership that just pays lip service to the idea and value of integrity and governance. In fact, sir, it is the abdication of leadership. His Excellency has advised us that the Constitution is a living document and that it must evolve and reflect the aspirations, values, and lived realities of its people, of our people. That it will be guided by the principle of democratic constitutionalism, good governance, and respect for the rule of law, and the end result must strengthen national unity, protect fundamental rights, and uphold the sovereignty of the people of Fiji. The review must work to build broad-based consensus and reinforce public confidence in the constitutional framework that underpins our democratic institutions. I expect, Mr. Speaker, sir, that the opposition will be consulted in the formulation of the Constitutional Amendment Bill, and we look forward to an extensive consultation process with a robust public debate and input before it is tabled to Cabinet and to Parliament. His Excellency has also informed us of government's intention to review the native land administration and the Itoke institutions to ensure that they remain fit for purpose in a modern Fiji. Times have changed since these structures were put in place, and it is time that they are reviewed. Changes must be done in the best interest of the Itoke and also be done in a manner that does not penalize or lead to negative impacts on other communities in our country. His Excellency has also brought up the concept that effective leadership for growth, sir, is strongest when traditional authority and government operate in partnership. This is a very effective formula for development, and I agree with him on that. And I endorse the Leader of Opposition sentiments that traditional leaders can act as conduits for government programs, ensuring that development initiatives are culturally sensitive, relevant, and sustainable, So their involvement can be crucial also in conflict resolution. Mr. Speaker, sir, as the leader of opposition had highlighted, traditional leadership has been based on customary, ancestral, and religious authority, and it carries a high degree of legitimacy, especially among Itoke, that complements the legitimacy of government itself. This synergy will help increase compliance with the laws and government policies. Mr. Speaker, sir, I opened my reply to His Excellency's most gracious address by highlighting the poor execution by government of the commitments that His Excellency had highlighted in his address last year. His Excellency had called for good governance, and this in turn, sir, requires good execution. I now wish to highlight some of the concerns that have arisen recently in relation to that poor execution. In 1st May of 2025, Mr. Speaker, sir, government passed notion that all taxis should go back to their bases. But this has not been gazetted. So taxis have not returned to bases. No execution, poor governance. A lot of transformers, these electricity transformers are not performing because of overload. There are a lot of complaints about voltage dropping. EFL is making money, but cannot serve the people well. No execution, poor governance. The Minister for Education had talked about the opening of new schools over the country, and I'm sure that has been welcomed by the people that live in the vicinity of those schools. Last week, sir, we were in Karoko, Tunulo, the Kondrabe. A year 13 student of the Watawono Adventist College that rose up and told us that they were suffering because they did not have the specialist teachers for the subject that they will be sitting their year 13 exams in this year, this very year. Mr. Speaker, sir, if we are opening the schools, do we have the teachers? Because if we don't, that is no execution. That is very, very poor governance, sir. In Valeniwe level, the counter officer, we are asked by the headmaster of the local school that secondary school teacher graduates should not be sent to primary schools because they just do not have what it took, nor have they been trained to do so. And they have all kinds of problems. This, again, Mr. Minister, sir, sorry, sir, to you, sir, is no execution, poor governance. In Navuni Ivira, four weeks ago, I was told that the last time that road was fixed was when I had been the Minister for Infrastructure and was asked to get it done because the carriers were being bogged down. This is poor execution of plans, lack of equity in development, no execution, poor governance. The road to Korlebu in Navosa was in atrocious condition when we visited there 5 weeks ago. And the road to Nassau, Nabakasinga and Bua is horrendous. I think the part that went up to Nebingiri must have been fixed because our Prime Minister was going there for the funeral last week. This is poor execution again, inequity in development, no execution, poor governance. Earlier this week, we were told that there are 96,000 tons of cane still standing, despite the former minister promising that no stock of cane would go unharvested. No execution, poor governance. Mr. Speaker, sir, in my address, I have tried to address the issues of poverty, of good governance, the importance of the Constitution and the rule of law, and the importance of equity and unity, because I think these are critical issues that we must address. If you don't have these things in place, everything that we try to do, this does not happen. You cannot deliver, Mr. Speaker, sir. So one of the things that one of the requests that I have received also in terms of equity for small business, buses get concessions, but taxi drivers and people that run taxis are also asking if they can also get fuel concessions and fuel tires, especially as the price of fuel is about to go up. Earlier this week, we've talked a lot about hypocrisy this and hypocrisy that. Honorable Sachidanand had a go at the Honorable Bala. I think it is important that he should also ask himself which door he came through to get into Parliament before he starts asking those of us that are still on the political side. Which he should count himself lucky that he's here because he only got in because someone left. Honorable Nyundamu, my very good friend, Honorable Nyundamu, he attacked Honorable Bala and called upon him to join the government. But I have to inform you, if you don't mind, I just told him, there is no more cabinet seat available, Nyundamu, sir. So if Honorable Bala goes, there's no seat for him, unless he becomes Minister for Footpaths and Flowers. I find it immensely amusing that those who got into Parliament by being Fiji First MPs now turn and bite the hand that got them there. No shame at all. No shame at all. Opportunists just taking their lollipops and trying to make their new masters be happy. Honorable Tuisawau says that we are anti-youth and that we want them to be in debt. He forgets that under their system, they do another 50% additional penalty on top. Are you going to take that away? Maybe when we win the election and People First becomes in charge, Honorable Enya Serratu becomes Prime Minister, we might consider doing that, sir. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity.
I thank the Honorable Chanyo Samati for his contribution. I will now call on the Assistant Minister for Education, the Honorable Elias Vanawalu, for his contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Deputy Prime Minister, Honorable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Honorable Leaders of Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament, and all online TV viewers, Mr. Speaker, sir, first I wish to begin and acknowledge His Excellency, the President of this inspiring and thought-provoking address to this august House. His foresight challenges us to remain steadfast in our service to the people of Fiji. His Excellency also reminded us of the remarkable journey of our beloved nation has traveled in securing or upholding our sovereignty. Mr. Speaker, sir, along this journey we have endured moments of turmoil and we continue to navigate trials and tribulations. Yes, Fiji has remained steadfast, resilient in spirit, united in purpose, and unwavering in our commitment to progress. We strive to stand as an exemplar in our Pacific region, honoring our role as a hub of the Pacific. Mr. Speaker, sir, this journey has unfolded over more than a century. Today, as the leaders and citizens entrusted with our Fiji futures, we carry forward this legacy. We continue the work of building and rebuilding, reconnecting our people, rebranding our identity, and readjusting our sails so that we may reach our shared goal and realize our collective vision for a stronger, more prosperous Fiji for tomorrow. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the midst of all our policies to improve livelihood, the laws we enact to protect our citizens, and the investment we pursue to drive development, I wish to ask this august House that the children of Fiji must remain at the center of everything we do in this House. It is our duty to secure their future, safeguard their health, safety, and well-being, so that one day we will look back and acknowledge our legacy, just as we honor the foresight of our forefathers today. Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable members of this august House, I rise to emphasize that education is one of the most powerful platforms we can provide for our children. It equips them to be critical thinkers, patriotic citizens, respectful individuals, confident entrepreneurs, peaceful and compassionate neighbors, and resilient goal citizens of Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, through education, our citizens, including children, learn to value the richness of diversity and to collaborate in bullying and dividing our alienness in our beloved Fiji. Our guiding legislation, frameworks, and policy, including SDG 4, the National Development Plan 2025-2029, and Vision 2050, and the 2023 Denarau Declaration underscores the shared commitments to ensuring equitable access to quality education for every child here in Fiji. Today, I rise to reaffirm this commitment and to advocate strongly for strengthening equity and access to education, particularly for the many children who reside beyond our urban centers. Mr. Speaker, sir, evidence continues to highlight the persistent challenges faced by our natural in the rural maritime schools. This includes inadequate infrastructure, high operation costs, inconsistent access to essential services such as transportation, ICT, and electricity. This barrier widens the rural-urban divide, the digital sociality, and in learning outcomes for the future leaders of our Fiji. Therefore, development across our interior, rural, and maritime region must remain a central pillar of national planning and priority setting. This is essential given the enriched educational inequity faced by this community and our responsibility as leaders to ensure no child is left behind. Mr. Speaker, sir, with rising social concern, the data shared by the Substance Abuse Advisory Council of Fiji, the counseling arm of the Ministry of Education, revealed deeply and worrying trend. Drug-related case in our school increased to 3,143 in 2025, up from 3,041 in 2024. Alarmingly, this issue has now extended to primary school, with some younger students reportedly being used as runners or mules for drugs delivery. Such a development underscores the urgency of strengthening community resilience and access to safe, supportive education environment in our homeland here in Fiji. As Assistant Minister of Education, I'm encouraged that His Excellency, the President, has also highlighted, I quote, special emphasis will be placed on empowering interior, rural, and maritime economies so that development reaches every province and island, unquote. The nation direction aligns strongly with our education sector's priority. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to talk in our Itaukai dialect. Sa mga manatag sa mga lebu, kana mga bibita itiko na beba toro taki, ena tonda kung beba korle lebu, ongo esa masaga tiko pandondon, kinasasanga ni tambanan ni buli, esa bareta kiko timai no veka sa taka rawati ko na ngau ni kuwa, na nonda sa lava na minister ni buli, so na korni buli toro dake, secondary school, na niano matuku ke totoya, na weni secondary school, ma da kaun robe, Namuka Secondary School, may Maduata, Wainikeli Secondary School, may Tabiuni, Nawaka Secondary School, may Nandi, Namboro Junior Secondary School, may Naitasiri, Keyasawa South Secondary School, may Asawa. Mr. Speaker, sir, our students are vulnerable in expanding development in our rural, remote, and maritime region, greatly enhance their access to schooling. Strengthening education close to home will also help to reduce rural-urban migration, enabling children to remain with their parents and families where they are safest and best supported. A well-known African idiot says, "It takes a village to raise a child," becomes even more meaningful when parents, communities, the Vanua, churches, and other faith-based organizations work together to guide, protect, and nurture our children. With our improved access to quality education, even the most remote communities can ensure that their children thrive in life. Moreover, in our journey towards building a stronger and more inclusive Fiji, the role of education remains central. Today, I also reiterate in this august House the importance of inclusion in our mainstream classroom. Every child, regardless of background, ability, or learning, needs to deserve the opportunity to learn alongside their peers. As per our data from 2025, 2,296 students were registered on FEMIS as having some form of disability. Of these 2,296 students, 822 are girls, which is 37% of the 296 students. 1,119 are enrolled in special education schools, which is 47% are girls. Of the 2,296 students, 1,087 are in the 378 inclusive mainstream schools, both primary and secondary school. Mr. Speaker, sir, with the data shared above, inclusive education is not simply an approach, it is a commitment of fairness, dignity, and the belief that every child has a potential. When our children learn together, they grow together. They learn respect, empathy, and collaboration, the value that strengthen our community and our nation. In addition, Mr. Speaker, sir, we must recognize the truth that often hesitate to articulate, as not every child will pursue white-collar pathways, and that is perfect, acceptable. Education is not a one-size-fits-all model. Across the world, it is a widely acknowledged that academic pathways are just one many avenues to success. Here in Fiji, our TVET sector stands as powerful second chance opportunity, a pathway with dignity, purpose, and real economic values. From carpentry to plumbing, from electrical work to mechanical trades, from tourism to agriculture, blue-collar profession often limitless opportunity for our children. They are the backbone of our labor forces and the driving engine for national development. Today, through various mobility and labor schemes, we see Fijians thrive overseas in skilled trades, including household income and contributing to our economy. This is an opportunity that TVET empowers our young people to access through this education that we advance them to learn in their daily basis. The General Declaration thematic Area 5 on TVET is creating a wave with new programs, including mainstream TVET opportunity piloted at 15 secondary schools at Year 9 level in 2025, with an additional 5 schools this year. Another program is the TVET first piloted in the 4 girls' schools in the Central Division, mainly ACS, St. Joseph Secondaries, DAB Girls, and Valentine Memorial School. This is one initiative by the Education Ministry to nurture and empower our young girls to venture into male-dominated areas like mechanical engineering, carpentry, plumbing, to name a few. This is possible with a collaboration with the FNU, where the girls go to Samabula campus every Friday for hands-on experience. Mr. Speaker, sir, for TVET to truly flourish, we must strengthen ownership and respect technical and vocational profession. As families, as communities, as a nation, we must shift our mindset. TVET is not a fallback, it is a future. It is not a second-class pathway, it is a second-chance gateway to success. At the heart of all, it is a shared responsibility. The coalition government will continue to invest meaningfully in ensuring that every child is in school, providing resources, policies, and support to make education accessible to all. But for this investment to bear fruit, every family must take ownership of their child's education journey, must be a priority. Mr. Speaker, sir, education is most successful when the homes and the school work hand in hand. Parents are encouragement, the positive mindset, and believing in every child that they can succeed makes a huge difference in our journey. So let us move forward together, committed to inclusion, proud of our TVET pathway, and united in ensuring that every child in every corner of Fiji is supported to achieve their full potential. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Education continues to address teachers' workforce needs through a structured, consistent, and nationwide system of communication and monitoring across all schools in Fiji. Teachers' vacancies are identified through several key mechanisms, including notification of leave, as well as exit arising from resignations or death. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry has taken proactive steps to ensure that classrooms across Fiji remain adequately staffed, particularly in areas experiencing the highest shortage. Recruitment has been fast-tracked through teachers' training institutions, enabling final year students to be deployed into a highly demanded areas, especially STEM subjects and primary education, while they completed their remaining studies. Furthermore, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry has engaged retired teachers and increased the retirement age, now 60 for most teachers and 62 for those in STEM and special and inclusive education, to help retain experienced educators in our system. We have also reinstated structural interviews for Year 13 students aspiring to enter teachers' training program, strengthening the quality, the preparedness, and the suitability of their future educators. The Ministry continues to work closely with the key partners, such as the Fiji Teachers Registration, the Higher Education Commission, Teachers Training Institution, and the Tertiary Scholarship and Loan Scheme to ensure stronger alignment between pre-service training, recruitment, is on the pipeline and scholarship provision. Plans are underway to streamline human resources service through a centralized HR hub, which will significantly improve efficiency in recruitment, posting, and overall workforce management. Mr. Speaker, sir, the teachers' retention remain a global challenge, and Fiji is no exception given the increasing mobility and the migration of skilled professionals. Despite this, the ministry has undertaken a comprehensive review of relevant policies to ensure fair and competitive remuneration. In addition, we are exploring non-salary incentive and welfare-focused policy that support teachers' well-being, strengthening engagement, and promote long-term commitment to the teacher's profession. Strengthening collaboration will ensure that our national strategy aligns across ministry, fosters trust, leverages diverse expertise, and maximizes resources sharing. This unified approach will support and enhance the vision of the ministry in nurturing lifelong learners, fostering innovation, and ensuring equitable access to education while improving the overall quality of life, especially in rural, remote, and maritime regions. Mr. Speaker, sir, I stand in this august house to call upon all honorable members, leaders, and ministers to our beloved Fiji to strengthen collaboration, coordination, synchronizing our effort, and let us continue to work together to ensure that every child, regardless of where he or she lives, has the opportunity to learn, grow, and succeed. In closing, Mr. Speaker, sir, it is steward of our collective action and commitment to ensure we drive greater efficiency, stimulate innovation, and deliver stronger outcomes for our people. And the note, Honorable Speaker, sir, His Excellency the President and his most gracious speech, and I fully support the motion before the House.
Thank the Honorable Elias Vanawalu, the Assistant Minister for Education, for his contribution. I call next on the Minister for Ethiopian Affairs, the Honorable Ephraim Vasu, for his contribution.
Mr. Speaker, sir, Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Honorable Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Honorable Members of Parliament, and our fellow Fijians. Nisambula Vinaka. I rise to support the motion to thank His Excellency the President for his most gracious address delivered at the state opening of Parliament on 16th of February 2026. His Excellency called for leadership grounded in unity, resilience, and integrity, reminding this House that our people will judge us by outcomes, not rhetoric. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I commence, I wish to firstly acknowledge the traditional owner of this land. Sabambul tiko, tiko bo turangan andun mai. Impula sa turangan at isuwa. The traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. And pay my respect to the elders, past and present. My Assistant Minister has addressed the culture, heritage, and art dimension of our portfolio. As he had noted, the Department of Culture, Heritage and Arts now sits with the Ministry of Public Enterprise, Multi-Ethnic Affairs, Culture, Heritage and Arts, ensuring integrated leadership on national cultural matters, while our ministry retains responsibility for Itoke culture, heritage, and arts. The ministry is also leading the preparations for the 8th Melanesian Art and Culture Festival in 2026, building on cultural momentum already achieved. This work complements our broader mandate and reinforces whole of government coordination under Pillar 2 of the National Development Plan, on the pupil empowerment and our strategic development plan. In my contribution today, I will focus on our wider mandate, strengthening Itoke governance and institutions, protecting and utilizing land and natural resources, and advancing an indigenous development agenda aligned with national unity and inclusive growth. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency spoke directly about enduring role of traditional institutions in shaping identity and social cohesion. He reminded us that effective national leadership is strongest when traditional authority and government work in partnership. He also called for an integrated review of native land administrations and Itoke institutions so they remain fit for purpose in a modern Fiji. That is precisely the direction we are taking. In 2023, a major milestone was achieved with the restorations of the Great Council of Chiefs and reopening of Walianimbose complex in 2025, restoring both a physical home and national symbol of Itoke governance. However, Mr. Speaker, sir, the task ahead is practical. Today, our chiefs and community leaders must guide responses to emerging national challenges, including the drugs crisis and associated social and public health pressures. Strong traditional leadership is not merely a reflection of the past. It continues to serve as frontline governance and the foundations of community protection. To support this leadership, the Itoke Land and Fisheries Commission conducted 365 traditional governance training sessions and facilitated 422 informal title sittings. These efforts strengthened social cohesion and reinforced authority of customary institutions within modern governance systems. The Ministry has also continued strengthening the institutional foundation that supports stability within the Vanua. Through the TLFC, we have improved processes that support the resolution of disputes concerning land ownership, fishing rights, and customary chiefly positions, while enhancing the accessibility and integrity of key national registers. As of now, the TLFC had completed the work of preserving and digitizing 164 PKB records out of the 555 books. We have also begun the process digitally archiving of all our records and uploading it into a secure cloud saver. These efforts preserve indigenous knowledge while strengthening economic resilience and community empowerment. Mr. Speaker, sir, His Excellency reminds us that land and sea are Fiji's enduring strategic assets and that there is a shared responsibility to ensure these resources are activated productively and sustainably while honoring custodianship and intergenerational equity. Our ministry approach is to translate aspirations into practical instruments. Through the TLFC, we have strengthened Vanua security by accelerating their work in completing village boundary surveys, with 590 villages already surveyed and plotted in the GIS system. In addition, 2 out of the 4 Mahogany leases survey were completed in Vanua Levu, representing 50% progress. These initiatives strengthen Vanua security while empowering customary landowners. A second key instrument is the Itoke Resource Owners Support Fund, which has been strengthened into a more bankable financing mechanism developed with lending partners. Through this model, government provides interest subsidy support to unlock large volumes of private lending, enabling resources owners to become entrepreneurs and investors rather than remaining solely as leaseholders. In 2025, these initiatives supported 1 provincial company and 17 Itoke business companies with a total approved principal lending of 25.7 million, supported by the 1.7 million in government interest subsidies. Mr. Speaker, sir, through the Impact Invest program, Fijian Holdings Limited had also strengthened strategic equity partnership with Landowners Trust. Joint ventures in Naitasiri, Takonrobe, Teilevu, and Rewa are supporting transformative development in renewable energy, agro-processing, affordable housing, commercial complex, and industrial warehousing. This initiative represents approximately 14.24 million in equity investment, enabling greater landowners' participation in the economy while unlocking the productive value of the land for sustainable and inclusive growth. These projects, currently ranging from design stage to approximately 70% completion, are already generating employment and supporting local enterprise. Mr. Speaker, sir, we also recognize FHL achievement in indigenous business infrastructure for the completion and commissioning of the 18-story FHL Tower, a major presence in Suva commercial landscape and an emblem of long horizontal indigenous investment. Mr. Speaker, sir, allow me to highlight several key initiatives undertaken by the Itoke Land Trust Board to strengthen landowners' participation in economic development, while fulfilling its statutory obligations under the Itoke Land Trust Act and Agriculture Landlord and Tenant Act. The board administers native land leases under both acts, which requires compensation for tenant improvement when leases expire and are not renewed. Recognizing these obligations and the need to empower landowners, the board approved the establishment of the Itoke Well Fund in 2023. In 2024, the poundage levy structure was revised to 18%, allocating 8% for TLTB operations and 10% to the Itoke Well Fund. This reform establishes a sustainable financial mechanism that both meets statutory obligations and create new opportunities for economic growth. The Itoke Well Fund provided compensations for tenant improvement when leases reverts to landowners, serving as equity for development partnership and joint venture, finance land development, and property investments, supporting entrepreneurial ventures of landowning units and funds specialized education scholarship. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Itoke Development Fund facility commenced operation in 2024 to enable landowners to unlock the economic potential of their land assets. The facilities provide access to financial for agricultural development, business startup and expansion, as well as land development and infrastructure. Eligibility requires applicants to be registered landowners in the Ivolani Kambula. As of January 2026, the facility has approved 132 loans, valued at 5.5 million, and received 1.26 million in repayment, representing a recovery rate of 17.46%. Mr. Speaker, sir, the commercial subsidiary, Gallimaroroi Holdings Private Limited, will become operational on 1st of April 2026. This company will serve as a strategic vehicle, allowing landowners to participate directly as equity partners in development projects on their own resources, ensuring that landowners benefit from the value created through their land. In addition, TLTB is implementing a new loan management system which will significantly improve efficiency, accountability, and financial monitoring within the TDFF program. Mr. Speaker, sir, inclusive development ultimately depends on the people, not only assets. Long-term empowerment also requires investment in education. Through the Itoke Well Fund, the LTB has established a scholarship program, supporting Itoke students in specialized professional fields, including medicine, aviation, information technology, civil engineering, and business management. These initiatives invest directly in human capital, developing a new generation of professionals who will contribute to both national development and the future stewardship of landowners' interests. The first 15 scholarship recipients received their offer letter from the Honorable Prime Minister on 23rd February 2026. Mr. Speaker, sir, tourism remains a critical sector where inclusion must be intentional. Official statistics confirm that visitors' arrival reached a record of 968,367 in 2025. A key policy question is therefore how tourism growth can benefit Itoke communities in a fair and sustainable way. Last month, we have also launched the Fiji Indigenous Tourism Framework. The Fiji Indigenous Tourism Framework 2026 to 2036 represent an important step towards culturally grounded tourism development, where communities are not a participant, but leaders and primary beneficiaries. Our priority in 2026 is to operationalize this framework through clear standard, partnership, and practical support so that communities can develop viable enterprise while safeguarding what is scared within our culture. Mr. Speaker, sir, strengthening institutions also require legislative reform. The Right of Indigenous People Bill 2025 has also passed its first and second reading and is currently undergoing parliamentary committee scrutiny and public consultation. In addition, amendments are being prepared to the Itoke Affairs Tikina and Village Council Regulations 1996 in partnership with the Solicitor General's Office. These reforms aims to strengthen village governance system so they can respond more effectively to modern challenges, including drug abuse and emerging social pressures. This reform from a broader Itoke administration's program encompassing the review of the Great Council of Chiefs, the TLFC, the Itoke Affairs Board, the Itoke Land Trust Board, and the Itoke Trust Funds Board. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also acknowledge the continued work of the Itoke Trust Fund, which plays an important role in advancing the education, economic empowerment, and long-term development of the Itoke people across Fiji. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Center of Appropriate Technology and Development at Nandawi, which continues to equip our young people, particularly from rural and maritime communities, with practical, technical, and vocational skills that enable them to participate meaningfully in modern economy. Likewise, the Itoke Affairs Board continues to strengthen the Itoke administration system, supporting provincial, Tikina, and village governance structure that remains the backbone of our community leadership. Together, these institutions reflect the spirit of Sol Solewaki, working collectively with governments, the Vanua, and our people to advance well-being and progress of the Itoke people within the United Fiji. Honorable Speaker, sir, the Ministry stands ready to support national consultations on the proposed commercial use of marine areas, Kuma Bill, and the Rights of Indigenous Peoples Bill, ensuring that the voice of our people are properly heard and reflected in the legislative process. We are also currently preparing for the national celebrations of the Ratu Sukuna Day, which will take place during the week of 29 May, and I'm pleased to announce that this year's commemorations will be hosted in the Western Division. Mr. Speaker, sir, our priorities for 2026 are therefore clear. We will consolidate the operational capacity of the Great Council of Chiefs, strengthen land administrations and record systems, expand landowners' entrepreneurship financing, implement the Indigenous Tourism Framework, and advance key legislative reform affecting villages' governance and Indigenous rights. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank His Excellency, his address and his call for unity, integrity, and practical leadership. His Excellency reminds us of the Itoke principle, I quote, Saindoko Karikari, and quote, leadership that reflects unity, responsibility, and forward-looking actions. Our ministry accepts that challenge. We remain committed to advancing the well-being of the Itoke people within our United Fiji and strengthen the partnership between government and the Vanua so that the development delivers real improvement in livelihood, services, and opportunity for all. I support the motion before the House. Nasa Volio.
I thank the Minister for Itoke Affairs, the Honorable Ifirimi Vasu, for his contribution. Honorable members, there are only 3 more speakers left for today and one bill under Standing Order 51. So if I do not hear any objection, I intend to proceed to complete the list of speakers and on to the bill without any recess. Right, I hear no objection, in which case, given the hour, and for the purpose of complying with standing orders with respect to sitting times, I now call upon the Leader of the Government in Parliament, the Honorable Rofili Petusawau, to move a suspension motion.
Mr. Speaker, I move under Standing Order 6 that so much of Standing Order 23-1 is suspended, so as to allow the House to sit beyond 4:30 p.m. today to complete the remaining items listed in today's order paper.
Is there a seconder?
Honorable Speaker, I second the motion.
Banivalu is a seconder. I now call upon the Leader of the Government in Parliament to speak on the
Mr.
motion.
Speaker, sir, as you mentioned, we have a few speakers left and the consideration of a bill. Naka.
Thank you, honorable members. The floor is open for debate on the motion, if any. Don't see any. So I call on the Leader of Government to speak in reply, if any.
No further comments, Mr. Speaker, sir.
There's no further. The Parliament will now vote. The question is that under Standing Order 6, that so much of Standing Order 23, Clause 1 is suspended so as to allow the House to sit beyond 4:30 p.m. today to complete the remaining items listed on today's order paper. Does any member oppose the motion? Here none, as no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. Thank you, honourable members. We will then move on, and I will now call upon the Deputy Speaker and the Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honourable Lenora Kerengari-Tambua, for her contribution to the motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Prime Minister, Deputy Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Assistant Ministers, the Leader of the Opposition and fellow Members of Parliament. I rise in support of the Prime Minister's motion that this Parliament thanks His Excellency the President for his most gracious speech at the opening of the 2026 parliamentary session, setting a clear and principled direction for our country, one that is rooted in unity, resilience, economic transformation, and an unwavering commitment to the well-being of our people. As Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs and External Trade, I wish to speak particularly to the global dimension of that vision. In an increasing complex and interconnected world, Fiji's voice continues to carry weight far beyond our shores. Our foreign policy remains grounded in peace, respect for international law, genuine partnership, and the protection of our sovereignty. We will continue to pursue a foreign policy that is independent, balanced, and guided first and foremost by the national interest of Fiji. While the Minister, Honourable Ditoka, has set out our strategic direction, I'm here, sir, to report on how we are operationalizing those priorities, our bilateral partnerships, our trade agreements, and our diplomatic resources to serve the everyday needs of the Fijian people. Our bilateral relationships remain the foundation of Fiji's day-to-day diplomacy, and through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade, we're working at strengthening key partnerships and international alliances. The Ministry continues to explore and negotiate partnership frameworks with various partners. Within the region, the review of development cooperation frameworks is ongoing, purposed at strengthening regional integration. Mr. Speaker, we live in an era of profound global transition. Power dynamics are shifting, economic partnerships are evolving, regional institutions are adapting, and the rules-based international system is facing mounting pressure. In such an environment, small states must be strategic, consistent, and confident. Fiji's foreign policy will remain anchored in the principles of sovereignty, mutual respect, non-alignment, and constructive engagement. We do not see ourselves as passive observers of global developments. We are active contributors. Our diplomacy is not reactive, it is deliberate. Fiji's voice in international affairs has always been guided by our commitment to peace, to dialogue, and to the respect of international law. The conflict in the Middle East reminds us of the devastating human cost when diplomacy fails. My hope is that the international community redoubles its efforts to pursue de-escalation, humanitarian access, and pathway to a durable peace for all peoples of the region. We will continue to pursue a balanced foreign policy, one that builds high-value partnerships across traditional and emerging partners alike. Our engagement is guided not by ideology, but by national interest under the pillars set out in the Foreign Policy White Paper, which are sovereignty, security, and prosperity. Fiji's credibility internationally stems from consistency and mutual respect. When we speak about climate change and advocacy, ocean protection, peacekeeping, or sustainable development, we do so with moral authority because these issues directly affect our people. We pursue cooperation that promotes sustainable development and long-term resilience with the well-being and prosperity of our people at the heart of our negotiations. Mr. Speaker, regionalism remains central to our foreign policy. Our Pacific identity is foundational. Our strength is amplified when we act collectively. In 2026, Fiji will work closely with our Pacific neighbors to deepen regional integration, to enhance collective bargaining power in global negotiations, and promote peace and security within our ocean continent. We will support initiatives that strengthen regional institutions, improve disaster preparedness coordination, and enhance connectivity, physical, digital, and economic. The Blue Pacific narrative is not merely symbolic, it is strategic and is further amplified by the declaration of the Pacific as an ocean of peace. It reminds the world that our ocean unites us and gives us leverage. Through solidarity, Pacific states can shape outcomes rather than be shaped by them. His Excellency spoke of a wealthy nation. To achieve this, our external trade team is acting as a bridge between the government and the private sector. In late 2025, the People's Coalition government made a policy decision to shift external trade from the Ministry of Industry and Trade to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, forming the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade. This restructuring, sir, integrates international trade policy and negotiations with diplomatic missions to enhance economic diplomacy, with the trade unit serving as the central coordinating body. By nestling trade within the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we are aligning our diplomatic missions to act as trade hubs, ensuring that every one of our diplomats is also an advocate for Fijian sugar, for Yangona, for processed fish products, packaged goods, and tourism, to name a few. Mr. Speaker, this shift ensures a whole-of-government approach to aligning trade negotiations with foreign policy objectives, strengthening international trade ties, and leveraging diplomatic missions for trade promotion, negotiation, and the expansion of international markets and accessibility. Sir, foreign policy must deliver results that our people can see and feel. It must translate into jobs, opportunities, and improved livelihoods. And evidence of this has already been covered in detail by every single minister in their speeches thus far this week, from agriculture to health, from security to jobs, to the environment and climate change. In doing so, our overseas missions will actively pursue various initiatives like expanded market access for Fijian exports, new investment partnerships in sustainable sectors, trade and tourism promotion and diversification, technical cooperation in agriculture, renewable energy and digital innovation, and skills development partnerships for our youth with the aim of sustainable development and growth. We will strengthen coordination between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade and other relevant line agencies to ensure that our external engagements align with national development priorities. Investment must be responsible, transparent, and aligned with our long-term goals. We welcome partnerships that respect local communities, uphold environmental standards, and contribute to knowledge transfer. So climate change remains the defining challenge of our generation. For Fiji and other Pacific Island countries, this is not a distant threat. It is a daily reality. His Excellency's address rightly emphasized resilience and sustainability as national imperatives. Our foreign policy will continue to place climate action at the forefront of our international advocacy. In 2026, Fiji will continue to strengthen its advocacy in regional and multilateral forums, ensuring that the global community delivers on climate finance commitments, loss and damage mechanisms, and adaptation support. This will include working closely with our Pacific neighbors under the Pacific Islands Forum framework in advancing the collective priorities of our Blue Pacific continent. At the same time, sir, we will deepen strategic partnerships across Asia, the Americas, Europe, and when the time is right, the Middle East. Fiji's foreign policy is not about choosing sides, but it is about building bridges. We welcome cooperation that promotes sustainable development, infrastructure resilience, digital connectivity, trade expansion, and skills development for our people. Labor mobility and the diaspora engagement remain critical components of our international relations. Our citizens abroad are ambassadors of Fiji's values and culture. We will continue to ensure their welfare and well-being. Furthermore, sir, Fiji remains committed to being a constructive and principled contributor to international peace and security. Our proud history of peacekeeping and multilateral engagement reflects our enduring belief that small states can make meaningful contributions to global stability. Mr. Speaker, the global governance architecture has been under a lot of strain over the recent past. Institutions established decades ago are now looking for mechanisms to adapt to contemporary realities. Yet, multilateralism remains essential, as no single country can address complex issues like climate change, pandemics, transnational crime, or cyber threats all on their own. In today's day and age, cooperation is not an option, it is a necessity. Fiji will continue to advocate for reforms that give small states a stronger voice and access to the decision-making processes. We support greater representation, transparency, and accountability within international institutions. Our team at headquarters, sir, at Nandi Airport and in our missions are committed to working diligently to pursue Fiji's interests, to ensure that Fiji's interests are protected and advanced in all relevant forums. Sir, bilateral relations remain the cornerstone of our foreign relations. In particular, the elevation in the socio-economic well-being of our people through infrastructure projects and sustainable development initiatives, coming to fruition through bilateral engagements. These bilateral engagements, sir, continue to strengthen with many of our valued development partners, including the expansion of our diplomatic footprint into new frontiers. So one of the key highlights anticipated this year will be the groundbreaking for the 100-bed super speciality hospital project with the Republic of India and the Ndombui Levu Regional Research Project with the Republic of Indonesia. The 100-bed super speciality hospital will be a significant elevation of Fiji's healthcare sector through the provision of specialized medical and cardiology services that will be accessed by ordinary Fijians and the Pacific region. With an estimated value of 200 million Fijian dollars, the project, sir, will be another significant footprint in our bilateral relations with the Republic of India, and one that would greatly support our broader healthcare plan. On the same note, Mr. Speaker, the Ndombui Levu Regional Research Center project is a major agriculture initiative aimed at elevating farming capacity and providing access to agriculture research to Pacific Island countries. The project envisions the establishment of a regional training center and demonstrated farming at the Ndombui Levu Research Station. The project will soon commence phase 1, which includes finalizing the technical and preparatory issues relating to the construction process. With an estimated value of 12 million Fijian dollars for phase 1, the project will be a landmark collaboration between Fiji and Indonesia in the agriculture sector. Mr. Speaker, in terms of promoting regional integration, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and External Trade is working and collaborating strategically with the Embassy of France to coordinate thematic sector-based cooperation with its territories in the Pacific through an established Declaration of Intent, or DOI, for development cooperation. A high-level delegation from Wallis and Futuna completed a series of meetings with line ministries on their development interests, exploring ways in which Fiji can help. The high-level delegation conducted meetings in Fiji from the 23rd to the 27th of February this year. The visit aligns very well with the regional component of Fiji's Vision 2050 and also the 2050 strategy for the Blue Pacific, underscored by the Ocean of Peace, which is a regionally developed and owned instrument for building a resilient, peaceful, and prosperous region. Mr. Speaker, I am committed to the wisdom of outcomes. We are no longer silent observers. We are an active, disciplined, and operationally excellent foreign service that puts the interests of our people first. Global economic recovery remains uneven. Climate impacts are intensifying. Technological change is accelerating, and the year ahead will require discipline, cooperation, and foresight. But there's always opportunity in every challenge, sir, and Fiji has never been defined by its size. We are defined by our spirit, resilience, and determination. Allow me to conclude by once again thanking His Excellency for his comprehensive and inspiring address. The agenda for 2026 is ambitious. It calls for economic transformation, environmental stewardship, social cohesion, and institutional strength. Foreign policy will be a vital instrument in achieving these goals. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity. Dhanyavad, Shukran, and God bless our beloved Fiji.
I thank the Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Lenora Gerger Thambon. I will now call on the Honorable Professor Biman Prasad to deliver his contribution.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. the Honorable Prime Minister, Cabinet Ministers, Honorable Leader of the Opposition, and Members of Parliament. I want to begin by thanking His Excellency, the President Ratunenga Malalambalabhu, for his gracious address. His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, has set an extensive and elaborate agenda for the government and indeed for our nation in years to come. Mr. Speaker, before I speak on other aspects of the motion, let me join the Honourable Prime Minister and the Minister of Environment in offering our thanks to Australia and so many other countries to allow Fiji to host the pre-COP31 in October this year. This is an important statement of confidence in Fiji and Pacific's leadership on climate change. We are the world's most climate vulnerable region. By hosting the pre-COP in our nation, we will be able to speak directly to the international community about the scale of our challenges. Mr. Speaker, we must prepare well for this. This is an event of such a huge importance. We will need to engage and work with our civil society. We will need to build new partnerships in support of our climate efforts. We will need to secure new and negotiated outcomes for securing the finance that is needed for building our resilience. And we lend our full support and once again thank the Honourable Prime Minister for his leadership and fellow members of the Pacific Islands Forum family for having this trust in Fiji. Mr. Speaker, while opening the fourth term of Parliament since the coalition government came into office on 24 December 2022, His Excellency the President, while outlining various policies, need for transparency and accountability, constitutional reform, and for freedom and democracy to be protected at all times, was effectively highlighting a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. And this is exactly what our government is all about, Mr. Speaker. Right at the outset, we were honest with the people. We said we will not be perfect, because no government in the world has, is, and will be perfect. We said 39 months ago that we will be open to criticism, because the fundamental freedoms we are restoring would provide a platform for people to criticize us. And of course, the criticism sometimes tend into attacks that are full of venom, because people do not have to fear of being arrested in the middle of the night or being persecuted or intimidated. Mr. Speaker, even our harshest critics say this publicly, that on any account, this government is better than the one that we had before we came in. And that says a lot, Mr. Speaker. In different times, a government would have suppressed the freedoms and used to camouflage the failures and failed policies, but not the coalition government. That is why, Mr. Speaker, there is boldness, there is fearlessness, and there is open criticism of government at any point, at any time. His Excellency talked about unity, diversity, but Mr. Speaker, what he was also saying is that diversity, unity cannot be present, cannot be promoted without a free environment. And that is exactly what we have in this country now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, one of the members from the other side remarked that Honorable Kamkamida and I are now sitting as backbenchers. Let me remind him and others that I didn't join politics in a party that was in government.
I joined politics for a party that was in opposition. Except for a brief moment that I was sitting in the front benches, I sat at the back for 8 years and observed many of those who were sitting on the other side who were in government and the shenanigans and what they were saying now and what they're saying now. But Mr. Speaker said, as a backbencher, I can see them very well from here. You know? The opposition has taken pot shots at the Honorable Prime Minister. In fact, under his leadership, the coalition government has reset the moral compass of governance and rule of law. We have done much more than what the previous government did in 16 years until December 2022. And I know Honorable Usumate, and Honorable Albik Maharaj, the usual style, they go back to history, the contribution of Indo-Fijians and other races. But, Mr. Speaker, let me remind them, the previous regime and government, for many years, they did not allow Professor Brijlal, who was the preeminent historian on the Gilmit, on the history of Indo-Fijians in this country. And it was this Prime Minister here that within a few hours of taking office, he wrote to Dr. Padma Lal, the widow of well-known academic and true son of Fiji, informing her and the family that they were now free to come to Fiji, and she was able to bring Professor Lal's ashes and immerse it in his birthplace in Tambia, Lambasa. Mr. Speaker said, other big things for inclusivity and social cohesion that this government did. Public holidays. For the first time in the history of this country, Gilmit Day is now celebrated as a public holiday, and we were able to bring Ratu Selala Sukuna Day, which was taken away by the previous government. Mr. Speaker, when I was hearing the honorable opposition members, I was listening very carefully. It reminded me of the kind of politicians I call grievance politicians. and when you talk about grievance politicians, what they do is they mobilize resentment, perceived injustice, even though it may not exist, anger, blame, using social media, posts, etc. They thrive in highlighting conflict, and sometimes they have their own conflict in the identity they want to choose, in the delivery of issues that they want to pursue. Mr. Speaker said, let me also say that one other thing that we did is of very big significance, and it enhances social cohesion and inclusivity. We reintroduced Vosavakaviti and Hindi as languages for debate in this parliament, and I'm very pleased that some of the members on the other side are able to talk in their own language. And we all like to do that every now and then, Mr. Speaker said. But let me, Mr. Speaker, just recap, because I heard a lot of them say what we did in the last 3 years. We did so many things, and the honorable ministers and assistant ministers have quite eloquently talked about some of those. But let me just repeat very quickly some of those. We brought this very innovative program of back-to-school support, which they claim was a Fiji first idea. It was never there. There was a COVID measure that they did during COVID. This is a new scheme. And for the last 3 years, we have helped more than 200,000 students every year. And you go to the villages. I was in a village in the interior of Wanimbuka, and the only thing they said to me was, thank you to your government for bringing this scheme. Thousands of rural families have benefited from it. I heard somebody talk about TELS. They said, oh, you know, they brought scholarship. It's not good. They were opposing it. We took away the TELS loan scheme, wrote off the burden of debt, and replaced it with a merit-based scholarship. And for the first time in the history of this country, we have a merit-based scholarship. And students coming out of universities, schools, going into universities, institutes, are now eligible for scholarships. All they have to do is sign a bond, and they don't have to pay a single cent. Mr. Speaker, I was also listening to some of the issues raised about our fiscal policy and our economic management. And I was kind of amused at the way in which they were misrepresenting the facts. So when we made a reform in our taxation system in 2023-2024 budget, and when we started collecting more revenue, they were not happy. When we were collecting those revenue and putting out $700 to $800 million in the form of increased social welfare, support to agriculture, back to school support, full scholarships, they were not happy. Then we borrowed to build large economic infrastructure. The tourism development project for 10 years in Vanuatu. Borrowing to fix the water situation in the country. Borrowing to build schools, hospitals. They complain about it. Then when we also grow the economy for 3 years, 3 consecutive years of good economic growth, and which led to the reduction in debt to GDP ratio from 90% to 79%. You know what they say, Mr. Speaker? They say, don't talk about debt to GDP ratio. This is the level of debate. This is the level of debate that comes out from the honorable opposition members. Mr. Speaker, this is the only government, if I recollect carefully, this is the only government that has been able to put out a national development plan and Vision 2050, which actually says very clearly where do we want to go as a nation. And the Honorable Prime Minister talked about the vision to make Fiji a high-income country. It is only through pursuing that vision, which means that you need to have good economic growth, average of more than 5%, which means that you got to build better economic infrastructure, which means that you would be then able to provide jobs for a large number of people. Decent jobs, decent wages. And again, for many years, minimum wage remained below $4, below $3. This is a government in 3 years moved it to $4 and then to $5. And many of those families who were struggling to make ends meet are now enjoying the fruits of that decision by the government. The National Development Plan, Mr. Speaker, is a document that would be used by future governments as well. Because it says where we want to go. Honorable Captain Lal is smiling. You don't want to go, you don't want Fiji to become a high-income country. Then Mr. Speaker, they talk about governance. Honorable Usumate went big on governance. And Mr. Speaker said, he was talking about Pacific politics, and I want to respond to that because I was, as Minister of Finance, I was responsible for the budget allocation for the whole of government and all ministries. Honorable Usumate knows that. I made that statement when we were debating the budget. They raised this question. Honorable Maharaj, Honorable Usumate, Honorable Bala, and I explained to them that the Fiji Higher Education Commission right now does not have a funding formula, which they should have. And any budget allocation, there are budget allocations that have been done by the Ministry of Finance which were not requested by the Ministry of different ministries, but submissions were made directly to the Ministry of Finance. For the next budget, the Honorable Minister of Finance has just called for submissions. There are many people who go and make submissions. They talk about the legality and it's complete hogwash. There is nothing illegal about the allocation to Pacific Polytech for all tertiary institutions. Let me explain this, Mr. Speaker said. He lied. He says that the Higher Education Commission did not request funding for Pacific Polytech. The director of Higher Education Commission, through email, requested the permanent secretary and the Minister of Finance and Ministry of Finance to consider budget allocation for Pacific Polytech. The Solicitor General has made it very clear, they're misinterpreting his opinion. He said, Minister for Education will, under whom the ministry's allocation goes, will decide. In Pacific Polytech, like every other new institution, gets provisional registration, and then they move towards a full registration. Doesn't stop them from accessing funding. Mr. Speaker said, these people, and they've spent so much time attacking Pacific Polytech, Facebook and all that. There are thousands of students, and I dare say, 90%. Honorable Attorney General and many other ministers have gone to their graduation, including the Honorable Prime Minister. 95% of the students are ETOK students, otherwise who would have been not accessing any educational institution, getting training, getting certificates, getting dignity, and getting jobs, Mr. Speaker. This is the level of grievance politics and resentment that they want to create. And Minister of Education did the right thing by sacking the chairman of the Higher Education Commission, because it's the incompetence of sometimes people in these institutions that invite this kind of thing. So Mr. Speaker said, I'll give you an example. Sangam did not make a direct request for budget for nursing school in the first budget. The chairman of the board and others had the discussion with me as part of the submission. And we allocated additional funding to the Sangam Institute of Nursing. Without the nursing school director directly writing to us, it was the discussion of what was needed. And we saw a need for more nurses to be trained, and budget was allocated. Budget is presented in Parliament, it's debated, it goes to Committee of Supply, it gets voted, it's approved by Parliament, and is a law. Higher Education Commission and those entities that are responsible for disbursing the grant will do their needful. Grant agreement, Solicitor General's advice, whether they are compliant or not, whether they would, that's their job. That's not my job as Minister of Finance, Mr. Speaker said. So I hope, Mr. Speaker, say that I put to rest, there are others outside, grievance politicians outside who are jumping upside down about that as well. Yeah. Mr. Speaker, sir, just a quick, if you could allow me one more minute, Mr. Speaker, sir. I know they talked about the review of the Constitution. I will not preempt or even for a moment suggest that we should not be in a new Constitution, because Parliament at this stage, Mr. Speaker, says is definitely not the forum or platform to air those views. The key objective, and as highlighted by His Excellency the President, is to take genuine ownership of the supreme law, and this will happen through genuine process of participation, consultation, and sometimes painstaking negotiation. NFP, as the oldest political party, Mr. Speaker, has seen through 4 constitutional processes. No other political party in the history of our nation has lived through and survived the 4 constitutions. And I dare say that we also have the experience in constitution making. We made it our policy in the last 3 general elections for the 2013 constitution to be changed. We have our views on the process, and this has been conveyed to the Honorable Prime Minister. That is the right thing to do. The ultimate objective is to have a constitution that has the will of the people. Mr. Speaker, I will finish by quoting the late A.D. Patel. And this is really a message to our friends in the opposition. It is easy, this is what he said, A.D. Patel in 1964. It is easy to be a ranting politician. It is difficult to be a statesman in a government to steer the ship clear of all rocks. A statesman has got to look at the next generation. A politician looks usually to the next election. If it ever comes to choosing between sacrificing my community and the interest of the country and sacrificing myself, I would rather sacrifice myself, unquote. With those words, Mr. Speaker, I want to once again thank His Excellency for his gracious address and support the motion by the Honorable Prime Minister to thank His Excellency. Naka, thank you.
I thank the Honorable Professor Biman Prasad for his contribution. Our last batsman in cricket is called the tail end. I will now call on the Minister for Lands and Mineral Resources, the Honorable Philemon Vosseron.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Leader of Opposition, Cabinet colleagues, Members of Parliament. I'm observing all protocols. Mr. Speaker, 54 members of this House have spoken in reply of His Excellency's most gracious speech. So please, Mr. Speaker, before I close the betting order for the day, allow me to tell you a story and also tell this story to my fellow parliamentarians. It's a story that's been shared by one of the most prolific storytelling presidents of the United States, President Ronald Reagan. He told the story of a businesswoman who would meet an elderly man every morning without fail. The man would be sitting selling pretzels in front of a building. Each morning, she would drop a quarter without taking a pretzel. She did this religiously every morning for years. On a particular cold, misty morning, she dropped the usual 25 cents in front of the man, and to her surprise, the man reached out and grabbed her hand. She said to the man, "I'm sure you want to know why I've been so charitable to you, praying for the pretzels all these years and not taking one up to this day." The man looked up and said to the businesswoman, "No, madam, I just wanted to let you know that the pretzels now cost 35 cents. Mr. Speaker, I have listened carefully to the speeches of the opposition members, and I'm reminded of that pretzel seller, persistent, present where he sits in the corner, but not grateful. Ungrateful for the quality of democracy they now enjoy in these chambers. Democracy that allows them to sit in opposition, not silenced, not sidelined, but seated, while government repeatedly accommodates their request for bipartisan engagements. In committees, in the House, again and again. Let me ask them a question, a fair question, Mr. Speaker. Can they even imagine, even for a moment, if we choose to treat them now the way members like the Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Deputy Prime Minister Ngawaka, the Honorable Biman Prasad were treated when they sat in opposition? They don't have to imagine that, Mr. Speaker. They are living the alternative now. They are living the proof that this government is different. Today, they operate in a much more receptive democracy. An absence of arrogance, a space where they criticize the Prime Minister openly, directly, personally, and persistently, as we've witnessed throughout the week. And he has absorbed all of it. Every word, every attack, every speech designed not to enlighten, but to provoke. Guess what, Mr. Speaker? The Prime Minister is still here. He's still here. Still focused, still leading, because leadership is not about responding to every critic. It is about staying steady for every Fijian. All we have heard from the opposition is about themselves, their complaints, their list, carefully curated of what they claim has not been done, what they have declared undoable, and what they assert was never prioritized in 3 years. 3 years. It's the same 3 years that we have paid cane farmers record-breaking payments per tonnage. Not promises, payments. In that same 3 years, we have stabilized the economy. We have regained regional and international respect. We have enhanced trade and development partnership. The Prime Minister's Ocean of Peace is a Pacific language and will soon become a language of the world. And yet, they remain adamant. 3 years is not enough for them, and never enough. They speak loudly about 15% VAT, very loudly, Mr. Speaker, as though they discovered the very concept of taxation yesterday. They do not acknowledge conveniently that the very government they once supported, the government they joined, introduced the exact same percentage between January of 2011 to December of 2015. 5 years of 15% VAT. And when it was reduced to 9%, it was done so with a color of deception, because they added 10% of ECAL and another 6% of STT. The result, Mr. Speaker, some items attracted up to 25% tax. But we did not hear them complain then, Mr. Speaker. We heard nothing, because they would have been fired and not here today. Like the men selling pretzels, their voice only rises when they have announced an increase. They appreciate nothing of the texture of democracy they now enjoy, the vibrancy of our parliamentary sessions, the bipartisan journey that only this coalition government has been able to forge and deliver to Fiji. They take the space, they take the microphone, but they refuse to take responsibility for their record. Mr. Speaker, the world is shifting beneath our feet. We have witnessed extraordinary global events, trade alignments happening overnight, not over years. Alliances once assumed permanent, now under question. New blocs forming, old certainties fall away. In such a moment, a small nation can feel adrift. A small nation can be tempted to wait and see which way the wind blows. But Fiji is not here to wait. I rise to address this global current directly, and trade positionings, the alliance shifts, the restructuring of international architecture, and to integrate my observations with the most gracious speech delivered by His Excellency the President when he opened this Parliament. Because His Excellency spoke of resetting our nation, and let me be clear, resetting Fiji cannot happen in isolation from resetting our place in the world. The two are the same task. We must understand the rupture that is now underway globally. We must name it clearly, and we must act, not as passive observers of history, but as authors of our own future. Mr. Speaker, let me be clear, the world has changed forever. The most recent of days, and in the most recent of hours, we have witnessed great power rivalry on full display. Big powers have tested the world's rules-based order at cost to the entire globe. Middle powers see this clearly. They are under no illusion about what world of 2026 and beyond has in store. The question is not whether the old order will return. It will not. The question is whether middle powers will find their voices before the window closes. We must ask ourselves, Mr. Speaker, we must answer it honestly. What does a small island developing state do to cushion the impacts of these extraordinary global conflicts? Conflicts fought far from our shores, yet whose missiles land here in the form of high prices. What systems have we built to future-proof our citizens, to shield them from the inflation that crosses borders as easily as data? From the rising cost of shipping, from oil and energy price hikes that are decided in distant capitals, but paid for at every Fijian kitchen table. Because ultimately, Mr. Speaker, it is about what we put on the table. The price of food, the cost of feeding a family. If we cannot protect that, we cannot protect anything. In the recent World Economic Summit at Davos, I saw something instructive. Countries meet on the margins. Draft trade and economic support agreements are exchanged in corridors, not plenaries. New sciences were discussed, new frontiers, artificial intelligence, green energy, critical minerals, explored with the intensity of those who knew the race has already begun. Shipping ports, trade routes, new destinations identified, negotiators scurrying behind the photo ops of their leaders, knocking down critical details of bilateral and multilateral draft agreements. Why? Because they realize what too many still refuse to say aloud. The world that provided safety at the end of 2025 is not returning. That reality, Mr. Speaker, is the same for us here at home. Fiji we knew at the dusk of 2025 is not coming back. To look back is nostalgia, and nostalgia is no strategy. Looking back is something we cannot do. Looking back is something we must not do, because our people are not looking backwards. They are looking to us, and they are waiting. Mr. Speaker, that brings me to the question that must weigh on every member of this House. What will Fiji look like at the dawn of one of the world's most existential time or period? Because make no mistake, we are just entering that era. We are not observers on the sidelines. We can't. We are walking into it, eyes open or closed, prepared or not, the choice of which is ours. And so we must be brave enough to confront the challenges this new era brings, brave enough to name them clearly, and brave enough to act. The dawn of 2026 must be a time of serious reflection. Reflections on Fiji as a nation of many people, many races and many creeds, united not just by blood alone, but by shared purpose and destiny. And from that reflection, a series of serious choices must be made. Not optional choices, not choices we can postpone until the crisis is upon us. Serious choices now. Choices, Mr. Speaker. That is what this moment demands. The choice to reset the direction of our country from top down, from the Constitution to our communities. The choice to re-strategize our trade capacity, to increase our export strength, to expand our partners to ASEAN, to the Middle East and beyond. Because in a fractured world, Mr. Speaker, those who trade with few answer to few, but those who trade with many answer to themselves. The choice to enter the era of commercial planting, to raise our own meat stock, to serve our own needs rather than rely on import that drain our foreign reserves and exports our dignity. This year onwards, we have one choice, Mr. Speaker. Reset, innovate, invest, plant, raise stock, or be poor as a nation. There is no other way. There is no waiting. There is only choices. We have a choice, Mr. Speaker, to revisit this nation's potential, to build new industries while we upgrade and renew our commitment to existing ones. New businesses and industries that will provide the funding needed for our infrastructure, our health, our roads, and our schools. Because amidst all the global shocks, there is always opportunity. And Fiji has something that the world craves: stability and peace. We have been mooted repeatedly, even as of last week, as the safest nation on earth in these times of global volatility. This is not a slogan, Mr. Speaker. This is a strategic asset. That is a foundation upon which we can build. So while the world is fixated between the power struggles of the East and the West, let us look within us. Here in the South, let us capitalize on our positioning, on our capability, and our greatest resource, our location and our people. The world is searching for safe harbor. Let that harbor be found here. Mr. Speaker, resetting our position means we must stop making excuses. For too long, we have told ourselves that the brain drain is natural, that it is normal for our best and the brightest to seek opportunity overseas because they cannot find it here. That is not a fact of life. That is a failure of ambition. We must create opportunity here at home, not someday, not somewhere, here in Fiji for all of our citizens. Let me be direct. There is a single employer in our construction industry today with over 600 foreign workers on its payroll. That is only one employer, and there are many others. 600, Mr. Speaker. While our own people look for work elsewhere, we bring in workers from abroad. That is not a criticism, Mr. Speaker, for those workers. It is an indictment of our own national work ethic and attitude. If we as Fijians have no desire to work, wait for government handout, if we cannot turn up to work on time and stay until the end, if we cannot turn up to work consistently for 5 to 6 days, then we can't complain when employers bring foreign workers. And that needs to stop. Put on the right attitude to work, stop the unproductive hours, stop excessive cover consumption that leads to weak productivity, work hard, have a vision, work that vision to work daily, it will come to you. Mr. Speaker, let us set aside the politics. Let us set aside the rhetoric. Let us ask a simple question. And this I imagine, Mr. Speaker. What is stopping Rakiraki and what is stopping the province of Ra from becoming known as the pineapple or the guava capital of Fiji? Nothing. Now, allow us to just look at the maths. A single guava tree generates the same revenue in 8 months that a cover plant takes 4 years to produce. 8 months versus 4 years. That's not just an opportunity, Mr. Speaker. That's transformation. I spoke to a farmer recently. He did not give me a briefing note. He did not offer me a policy proposal. He just looked at me, he plants white guava, and he says, Philly, it's a no-brainer. And he's right. The farmer knows what the spreadsheet shows. The only question that the farmer is asking is if we in this House have the will to act on what is plainly in front of us. Mr. Speaker, it's often said that Rakiraki has the tastiest pineapple in the country, though the good people of Sengaga might respectfully disagree. But here is the point I wish to make, Mr. Speaker. When our bakers search for ingredients to bake an upside-down pineapple, more often than not, they reach for brands imported from across the globe. Mr. Speaker, just imagine that. Imagine that today, every cane field in Ra was turned into a pineapple farm. Not a single row, every field. Imagine a pineapple processing industry rising in Ra, employing Fijians, producing for Fiji and exporting to the world. Instead of standing in these chambers arguing about why the Rakiraki sugar mill has not been built, we could be asking a different question. Is there a new industry that we can develop and open in Ra? Let us look at the upside. Farmers could farm something new, something that earns revenue faster, something better, processed pineapple slices, processed pineapple rings, pineapple juice, products that to this very day, Mr. Speaker, we still import from abroad. We import what we could grow. We import what we could process. And we import what we could even export. That is not strategy, Mr. Speaker. That is subsidy without return. Reimagining Fiji, we must look beyond what was, beyond the comfort of old industries, old arguments, and old excuses, and fix our eyes on what should be and could be. What should be is a Ra province not known for what we failed them. Past administration, and even in this administration, on promising a new sugar factory, but for what we have the courage now to do and cause transformation. We must pursue a future of self-reliance, where our own Fijian-grown products are not only on our shelves, but are also exported to the world. Because His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, identified that many families in the rural and maritime regions still face hardship to this day. I'm pleased to note that our pineapples have recently been granted access to the New Zealand market, and we thank our New Zealand partners for their support under the Nduavata Partnership. Mr. Speaker, now with that door open, let us walk through it, and I would beg that we would capitalize on it in a very big way. Mr. Speaker, resetting as a nation is not a slogan. It's a task that must be built from the ground up. It begins in infancy and carries through adulthood. It is a journey from being looked after to taking responsibility of looking after others. The values, the drive, and above all, the motivation that defines who we are as Fijians must be taught, not just in schools, but also in our homes. That's why reforming Fiji's education law is not merely important, it is essential. We must connect the dots now, Mr. Speaker, from early childhood to primary, from secondary to tertiary, and from classroom to the job market. This continuum cannot be left to chances. It's being addressed now deliberately by the Ministry of Strategic Planning, Strategic Development, National Planning and Statistics, working under the direct oversight of the Prime Minister. His Excellency, Mr. Speaker, at the Ministry of Lands and Mineral Resources, we recently launched a land rental recovery program. Not a policy review, not a discussion paper, a recovery. And I'm pleased to advise the House this afternoon that in just 7 months, the ministry has recovered $13.6 million. $13.6 million. That's not simply money recovered. That is also room created. Rooms for our Treasury to deliver public service where they are needed most. Room for the Ministry of Finance to prioritize what matters. Health, education, infrastructure, every dollar recovered through this exercise is a dollar that can now serve the Fijian people. In the third week of January of 2026, I delivered my ministerial statement intent for the year to more than 80 senior management staff of my ministry, gathered from across 10 offices across Fiji. Not in a lengthy document, not in a distant memo, but we stayed in a room for one entire day. And we declared together in 2026 would be a year of heightened urgency, not business as usual, not incremental progress, but heightened urgency. We agreed that this year would start fast, continue fast, and end fast. That requires energy, it requires commitment, it requires drive, and it requires purpose. And I am prepared to lead it. And to the public, you don't have to speak to the Honorable Ketan Lal to talk to me via his Facebook post. I'm available to talk to you. And my staff are also prepared to talk to you. I expect my ministry staff to be more vigilant in responding to stakeholders' agreement. Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, let me report on progress before I resume my seat. The review of the State Lands Act 1945 is complete. The review of the Land Use Act of 2010 is complete. Both have been finished. Both are now with the Fiji Law Reform Commission, who are preparing the final report for Cabinet alongside the draft bill. I thank Lady Racheli Tuivanga and her team at Law Reform for their diligent work. When laws sit unchanged for decades, Mr. Speaker, they do not age, they calcify. And calcified laws cannot serve a dynamic nation. We are not stopping there, Mr. Speaker. This week, on Monday, the 9th of March 2026, we launched the review of the Mining Act of 1965 and the Quarries Act. Let me repeat that year, 1965 and 1939. These are not just old laws. They are artifacts of a different Fiji, a different century, a different world. By now, the consultation team have visited Dalsamu, Nasinu, Nasori, and today, as scheduled, they will be in Namosi. I urge every Fijian with an interest, every landowner, every miner, every community member, and every citizen, let your voice be heard in these platforms. These consultations are not just merely formality. They are foundation. And the foundation laid without listening is a foundation that will crack. The world is changing fast. Our laws must change with it. And we, in this coalition government, are getting it done. Mr. Speaker, I join the Prime Minister in thanking His Excellency, the President, for his most gracious speech. God bless Fiji.
I thank the Minister for Lands and Mineral Resources, the Honorable Filimoni Masarongo, for his contribution. Honorable members, I thank you all. We will continue with tomorrow with the right of reply by the Honorable the Prime Minister. But before we turn the page, permit me, if I may, to make some general observations, as is permitted under my function pursuant to Section 77(6)(b) and D of the Constitution. This goes to the quality of the debate of the House on His Excellency's address. There have been some outstanding contributions to the debate on the motion by the Honorable Prime Minister, thanking His Excellency, the President, for his most gracious speech. There were some that were not. The difference between them, in my view, are first those that elevate their intervention to the same level as that of His Excellency's address, highlighting the roadmaps for Fiji as envisaged by the government in terms of the policies and programs for the future of the country. These interventions anchor their observations on these policies and objectives, and even criticisms leveled, but they are also identified by individual events and cases that illustrate the weaknesses or loopholes of the system or services provided. That, in my view, is totally acceptable. Then there are those that treat the opportunity to just pay lip service to the substance or contents of His Excellency's address, then proceed to go down the same road and treat the occasion as if it was another day in Parliament, and indulge themselves in the usual wish list of individual grievances which are out of context with the overall theme of the speech by His Excellency. I would urge and plead to you all, members of this Parliament, to bear my observation in mind and to live to your standard of debate next time and in response to His Excellency the President's next address to you. We now move on to the next item. Secretary General.
Consideration of bills.
Honourable members, we have only one bill to deal with today. I now call on the Prime Minister, the Minister for Civil Service and Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics, the Honourable Sithiwe Nrabuka, to move his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Pursuant to Standing Order 51, I move that A, the Fiji National University Act Amendment Bill 2026, Bill number 3 of 2026, be considered by Parliament without delay. B, that the bill must pass through one stage in a single sitting of Parliament. C, that the bill must not be referred to a standing committee or other committee of Parliament. And D, that the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament on Friday, the 13th of March, that is tomorrow, but that an hour be given to debate the bill with the right of reply given to me as a member moving this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir.
Seconder, is there a seconder?
Mr. Speaker, I beg to second the motion.
Leader of the government in the House, a seconder. I now call on the Prime Minister to speak on his motion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Pursuant to Standing Orders 51, I rise to move that the Fiji National University Amendment Bill of 2026, Bill number 3 of 2026, be considered without delay by Parliament, and that the bill to be passed through one single sitting of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also move that the bill must not be referred to a standing committee or other committees of Parliament, and that the bill be debated and voted upon by Parliament on Friday, that's tomorrow, the 13th of March, 2026, and that 1 hour be given to debate the bill with the right of reply given to me as the honourable member moving this motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, the harsh realities of the real world reinforce the need to develop more industry-aligned academic programs and practical training frameworks that would guide our young people, our future leaders, into a more resilient and competitive workforce. The Fiji National University, Mr. Speaker, sir, is one of the leading top-tier national universities that serve as a critical engine for national growth, for bridging the gap between academic theory and the practical skills required by our industries. The core theme of the university's 2024 annual report, Building Resilience and Sustainability with Excellence in Action, and I give credit for that to the Minister, Honorable Rondro. It signifies the institution's strategic shift toward building a robust and future-ready academic ecosystem that is capable of navigating the complexities of the ever-changing global economy. Mr. Speaker, sir, it is imperative that we continue to strengthen and build an economy that is not reactive, but proactive to meeting the diverse needs of young people as they transition from the halls of academic studies into the dynamic demands of the professional world and the unpredictable fluctuations of global externalities and unprecedented technological and climate-driven shifts. Speakers, in the year 2024, under the 8 colleges of the university, the total student headcount comprised of approximately 26,738 students. This increase of 2,876 students from the year 2023 reflects the university's growing relevance and its expanding capacity to address the urgent and specialized needs of our economy. The Fiji National University, Mr. Speaker, sir, is central to this transformative agenda. Without change, we cannot build an educational or equally supportive training framework that is capable of producing the adequate skill sets necessary to thrive in an increasingly complex and competitive global environment. Speakers, are the 3 pillars of our National Development Plan also reinforce this strategic move, ensuring that we are building confidence and stability into our national workforce, our economic foundations, and the very aspirations of our future generations. The speakers are to ensure these national priorities are strategically aligned. Relevant legislations and overarching policy regulations must be continuously refined to reflect these evolving needs and priorities. These changes, Mr. Speaker, sir, are not purely administrative alignments, but strategic ones that ensure our national vision remains coherent, sustainable, and directly accountable to the needs of the people that we serve. Mr. Speaker, sir, our people continue to be the center of national decision-making, ensuring that this esteemed August House is accountable to the citizens whose collective future we are tasked with shaping. With human resources being our greatest asset, it is crucial that we proactively identify the existing gaps within our education, technical and workforce ecosystems to ensure that training pathways remain perfectly synchronized. Mr. Speaker, sir, by deliberately aligning various colleges under the Fiji National University and proactively identifying how these schools or colleges complement respective ministries and agencies, we're able to better understand the supply and demand chain and ensure that our academic outcomes are directly responsive to our national development priorities. Mr. Speaker, sir, such partnerships are essential given the magnitude of the socio-economic landscape and the rapid pace in which global changes have accelerated. The era of business operating in isolation is firmly behind us. The Speaker, sir, the proposed amendments, proposed Fiji National University Amendment Bill 2026 seeks to introduce legislative amendment to the Fiji National University Act of 2009 to give effect to the reassignment of the Fiji National University from the Ministry of Education to the Ministry of Strategic Planning, National Development and Statistics. The proposed amendment is intended to strengthen the coordination and linkage between our development priorities and critical sectors across the economy. Such sectors include, but are not limited to, health, education, employment, and infrastructure, to name a few. The Speaker, sir, the amendments to the bill will strengthen the legal foundation necessary to ensure all relevant government processes are adequately aligned with the evolving strategic mandate of the university and that the broader development aspirations of our great nation. Mr. Speaker, sir, the academic mission of the university will not be undermined or diluted through this amendment. These amendments give teeth to the governance and accountability frameworks that protect that mission by ensuring that our academic integrity is not only upheld, but is continuously reinforced against external pressures. Mr. Speaker, sir, I acknowledge the support of the Honourable Minister for Education towards this initiative and reiterate that the Ministry of Education remains a critical partner towards this change, serving as the preliminary step into our nation's human capital development pipeline. I also commend the significant work undertaken by the university's board, senior management, and staff who continue to elevate institutional integrity and academic quality to its highest standard for the benefit of all our students. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I conclude, I'd like to thank the Minister for Health, all doctors and nurses who were in charge of the children's ward over the weekend and Thursday and Friday of last week. My great-grandson came home very, very cheerful after 4 nights in the hospital. He was very well looked after, and the whole family had a little cake to celebrate his discharge. And thank you for this opportunity, and I'll commend this bill for consideration by debate by the Honourable House. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Prime Minister, honourable members, the floor is now open for debate on the motion. At the end of the debate, we will have the right of reply from the mover. Are there any intervention? There are none. I'll give the floor back to the Prime Minister if he so wishes to speak on the motion in reply.
Speakers, I hope we'll spend the night reading up the original act and the amendment and its effect and align those to what His Excellency the President had said in his opening address and come back ready to debate tomorrow, sir.
Thank you. Parliament will now vote. The question is, pursuant to Standing Order 51, that the Fiji National University Act Amendment Bill 2026, Bill number 3 of 2026, be considered by Parliament without delay, that the bill must pass through one stage at a single sitting of Parliament, that the bill must not be referred to a standing committee or other committee of Parliament, and that the bill must be debated and voted upon by Parliament on Friday, 13th of March, 2026, but that 1 hour be given to debate the bill with the right of reply given to the Honourable Prime Minister as the member moving the motion. Does any member oppose the motion? I say again, does any member oppose the motion? No. I hear none. As no member opposes, the motion is agreed to unanimously. I thank all honourable members for your contribution today and for your presence. That brings us to the end of today's sitting. Parliament is now adjourned until 9:30 a.m. tomorrow.